stop sharing. So hello, I am Erin Becker. I'm the Norma Jean Calderwood Director of the Cambridge Art Association. And I want to thank you for joining us for our virtual studio visit today with Claudia Ruiz-Gustafson. Claudia is a photographer, actually is the first photographer hosting a virtual studio visit with us. So again, just type your questions in the chat box and we will hand things over to Claudia. Take it away.
Thank you, Erin, and welcome everyone to my studio. We are actually in my attic, in my bungalow house attic, and it's very dark and small, but it's really perfect because I'm a photographer, so this works for me. I don't really take photographs here in my studio. This is basically the place where I edit, print, and frame my photographs. So I'm just going to give you a 300-degree tour of my studio, just by moving my laptop. That's the screen where I used to edit my photographs. This is my window with no view, my only window. Here is my printer, and I'm super excited because I just got the printer last week from Missile. I didn't have a printer before. You can see a little shelf where my photo boxes are. This is where I store my.
Sorry, I think your hand probably covered the mic. I can hear clearly.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Sorry. So that's the little the place where I store my equipment, my camera and my props, my photo books. And this is the table where I do my framing. And right now it's a mess because it's full of stuff that I want to show you today. So normally you would see lots of frame photos here on the carpet, but right now all my work is under quarantine. I have 31 photographs in a dark gallery in the Danforth Museum of Art with a family circle exhibit, and 50 images under quarantine at the Multicultural Arts Center in Cambridge, which was supposed to be my first solo show of my career. So I'm super sad that this is happening. And you know, this year was going to be a really busy year for me. Had 7 shows scheduled that all has been either postponed or canceled. So I'm very thankful to the Cambridge Art Association for this opportunity for artists to connect and to know that, you know, to visit other studios, to know that how other artists are also finding refuge in art, which for me, the first 2 weeks were very hard. I was very down. But then for the last month and a half, I've been creating a lot of new work that I'm going to be showing you today. I'm going to be showing you some old and new work because some of you know the kind of work I do, some of you don't. So I'm just going to be showing you some photo books, photo boxes, and a new work that I've been doing in my house. So I'm just going to connect this so it's not for a little bit. So I'm going to show you this photo book. This is titled Reflections, and this is one of the first fine art series that I created about 6 years ago. And actually, this series of photographs were done here in my attic, and they're all the camera photograph a mirror, so they're all a reflection in a mirror. And this is a very personal series where I reflect my inner world. And this was the first series where I used myself as a subject. And actually it was kind of an accident because for this series, I hired a model, but she never showed up. So I decided to start using myself, you know, just for practice. But I found this process of posing in front of the camera very powerful. I really don't appreciate when people tell me that I do selfies, because for me, this is really performance. This is part of my art process. I'm not really posing in front of the camera. I am expressing ideas and emotions that I record with my camera. So this is just a little book. So every time I complete a series of photographs, I love to make these little books because I think this is like a beautiful way to share photography. Another little book that I did, and this was handmade, was is an accordion book titled La Huesera. In English is The Bone Woman. This project was inspired by an old Mexican legend of a woman that that collects bones in the desert, and then sings to them, and the bones come to life. I read about this legend in a beautiful book called Women Who Run with the Wolves. I don't know if you have read it. So for this project, I got human and dog, fake human and dog bones, and I went to that exhibit in Boston called Fog X Flow. I don't know if you remember, it was in the Emerald. So I went there, and I went there twice to do this, and I basically recreating my own way of being La Huesera, the bone woman. And when you close this book, I love it because it makes the shape, I don't know if you can see the shape of a 6-pointed star. I cannot do it here very well, but to go around the book is this little cord, and that's the animal bone in the shape of the full moon. And the moon is also related to the legend of this little book. And the last book I want to show you is titled She. For this project, I hired a model because I had really sketches. I had really sketched these images, and I wanted them to be really precise, because when I photograph myself, sometimes I cannot control everything in the frame because I cannot see myself in the viewer. So let me show you here. And these photographs are paired with a poem, an ancient poem from the 2nd century AD that I read a long time ago, and I love it. And I wanted to create a response, a photographic response to this poem. And this was the way idea. I want to show you one more image from that series. This one. And this is titled Mary Magdalene. This is one of my favorite images in the series. I think that was exhibited in the Cambridge Arts at some point. So these are all sepia photographs paired with, so diptychs paired with the stanzas of this poem. And so this is titled She. And the other thing that I like to do, because I also love to write poetry. Like about 4 years ago, I was trying to find a way to combine my photography and my poetry. So I designed these photo boxes. I basically just glue my photo with a medium gel and a poem. And I used an object. So I created 6 of these boxes, and every box has an object that relates to the poem. And in this case, there is a levitating feather and a mirror. And I love this one because when you point it to the window or to the sky, you see the reflection of trees and clouds in the mirror. So I really love to use. I mean, I love to use mirrors in general. I use mirrors a lot. So this is a box. So I won't show you the 6 of them. This is another one from the series. And in this case, it's a magnifying glass. The poem. And something I've been doing this past week is a new work based on my family photographs. And this is basically an extension of my family portfolio. And some of you know that I'm obsessed by my parents' love story. They have the most romantic love story. So these are them, and these are cutouts. These are photo cutouts that I glue. these are 6 wooden boxes that I wrapped with love letters that they exchanged when they were dating. And because I love to combine past and present, the background is a photograph of a place in the Berkshires where we go every year as a family, and it's kind of a ritual. So anyway, so this is it. And because I'm obsessed with my parents' story, I created a second box about them. And this is a collage where the photograph at the beach and letters and postcards for the exchange. And a little mirror here that you can see is the sun because they met at the beach. It's another box. I use cigar boxes for this, and sometimes I paint the outside, sometimes I don't. In this case, I painted the outside. So here is a little yarn that comes out of it. So this is my grandmother and her friend, and I use yarn. I use yarn a lot in this series to represent the blood ties among families, love, and also protection from evil. That's a belief in some Latin American countries that when you are inside a red circle, you are protected from danger. And the last box I want to show you is, and I love this box, by the way. I didn't paint it because I love the outside. And it still smells like a cigar, and I love it. So here you can see, I love this little chain. That's the way the cigar box came. And these are photographs of my grandmother and her mother. So my great grandmother. And in this one, I use a yarn, red yarn. And I don't know if you can see, it's a wooden, a metal bird cage. And I think these photographs are really beautiful. And I think I was very lucky because when I was working on this project, I found out that my great grandfather was a photographer, an amateur photographer. And I didn't know that until working on this project. So in this case, I didn't touch the outside box because I really love it. And I buy these cigar boxes at a cigar store. They sell them for $2 each, and they're beautiful. I can't believe them. So let's see. So finally, the last thing I want to show you is photographs I've been creating in my house because of this quarantine, whatever you want to call it. So my original idea was to create a series of photographs in each room of my house, right? Bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, living room, attic. But then after I hit the 3rd room, I decided that's it. I'm not gonna do more because I felt that was the end of the project. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna screen share, hopefully it works. Can you see it? Good. So I titled this series Suspended World. And it's part 3 because each part is a different room in the house. Part 1 is the bathroom. And by the way, I have the ugliest bathroom in the history of bathrooms. Very tiny, but, oh, and also paired because I already told you I write poetry. I paired with a poem I wrote only 2 years ago. So I'm just gonna start going and talking as long as I go. I did this corner, and once I did it, I did this for every single room. And as you can see, the palette is very wide, so wide and muted. And as I continue, you're gonna start seeing a lot of color that is being added to this series. I always use feathers in my work. It's just has become a signature for me. This is the last one of the bathroom series, and for me, this is kind of like, please touch me or something like that, because we are so isolated these days. So, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So part 2 is in my bedroom, which is also very muted in color, kind of light blue. And I use, again, the feather. That's a broken wing. again, the corner. And as you can see, I love to record movement in my photography. I do that in every single series I create. Let me know if I'm going too fast. That's the last one of that set, part 2. And then the part 3 was done in my living room. So now you're going to see more color entering into the series because my living room is kind of golden, yellow, gold. Oh, and for this one, I wrote a poem specifically for this series. And when I start writing, I'm not conscious if I'm writing in English or in Spanish, I just write. And when I was done with a poem, I realized that it was done in Spanish. And when I tried to translate it to English, it just doesn't work. It really loses a lot. So I have to, unfortunately, I have to leave it in. So just ignore the words, just take a look at the images. And this is real ivy from my backyard. So here you can start seeing more color and kind of more, you know. This was the only photograph that I needed help with. And the corner again. And this is the last one. So, so yeah, I'm just I'm creating. I'm also making a little book about that series. That is going to be when I'm done. I'm going to be using some kind of yarn or something to bind them together. It's not going to be red. It's probably going to be yellow or white or something like that. Let's see, what else can I show you? I think that's it. Do we have time? I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't do the video. I have like a 1 minute video. We have time, Erin?
Yeah, we have time for the video. And just a reminder to folks, if you have questions for Claudia, type them into the chat. If you hover over this screen, the chat box, you'll see the little chat bubble down there, and you can just type the questions in there.
So what I did is like, I created like mini slideshows, videos, slideshow set with music for each of one of the series. But I'm just going to show you the first part, and it's just 1 minute. So I also wanted your opinion if you like it, if you like that idea, or if you prefer to seeing them as images only, because I mean, it's a project that I just finished it, so it's still kind of fresh. So can you hear it? Erin, is it working? I don't see.
Yes, yes, it's working.
So, so that's it. I created 3 of them, and that was the first one. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a frustrated filmmaker, so that's what I do, those things. So, so yeah, I mean, that's it. I'm open for questions.
Great. I'm just going to start unmuting people. Looks like we had a question from Elena. Go ahead, Elena.
Oh, Claudia, thank you for your presentation. Beautiful work. The last series, are you the model? Because quarantine, you probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No choice.
Beautiful, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I set up my camera in a tripod, and I'm usually holding the remote control.
Mm-hmm. How do you make it like, you know, it's not focused as if you're moving? Were you really moving?
I'm really moving. I leave my shutter speed really sometimes 1 second, sometimes 2 seconds, sometimes even longer. So the longer I leave it, the more blurry I feel. But I have to move during when I'm doing the shutter. You know, I have to move. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one question I'm just going to read out loud because the question, Allison actually asked to not unmute her because it's very loud there. Where did the music that you used in the video, where is that from?
Yes, there are different websites that offer free music as long as you credit them. This came from bensounds.com, and they have a beautiful selection of music for video. So Alison, I recommend you go and check them out. They're also hooksounds.com. Yeah.
Cool. All right, our next question is from Pip Shepley. Go ahead.
Actually, it's from Martha
Actually,
Whitfield.
it's for me, Claudia. So when you're shooting in the rooms in your house, are you cleaning out the rooms of stuff? Because there's an emptiness into it, and I wasn't sure if that was your intent, but it's quite beautiful. It's hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah, my house is very small and very minimalistic. I don't have a lot of clutter, but you are right. I have to move things around because I intentionally wanted even a more minimalistic feeling. I didn't want any extra. So everything in the frame is there for a reason. The bed, the painting, the mirror, and I took a lot of stuff from the walls because I didn't want clutter. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that minimalistic, but
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Beautiful.
thank you.
I love it.
Okay. We have a hand raise from Lorraine Sullivan. Go ahead, Lorraine.
Hi, I love your work. Love your work.
Well, thank you, Lorraine. I love your work too.
I feel a kindred spirit in you and the love of narrative. Your work is, it fits so with what we're currently living through in terms of isolation. I'm getting all this feedback, Phil. Okay. Very sad. It's very sad and alone. And it's the use of white and the softness and everything. I guess my question though is, I too work with words and images and a lot of symbolism like you do. Do you work words first or as you're developing an idea, or once you have the visual images, do then the words come?
No, I create them separately. Let's see, for La Huesera, for example, the Bone Woman. First, I created the images and the words came afterwards. But I don't always, I think this was the first time, or only 3 times ever, that I have created poetry in response to my own images, because I do write poetry just for the sake of writing. I don't consider myself a poet. I just like to write things. So.
Oh, they're just lovely. They're haunting. I think someone has already used that word, haunting. There's a mystery to it that I don't understand, but that's all right. you take me somewhere else that's a little, it's sad and lonely.
Yeah,
And
it is.
wash of no color and makes me think.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Let's see. There was a question about, do you sell your books?
I sell everything on my website. My whole life is on my website. I have no secrets, so you can go there, and there are all my books, all my boxes, all my prints, on everything. So yeah.
Actually, I will share my screen again, so that folks who want to find out more about Claudia can visit your website, or also follow you on Instagram. Are you posting the new project that you are working on Instagram right now?
On Instagram, yeah, a little bit on Instagram. I'm not a big Instagram user, but I do post a little bit, yeah.
Cool. So ClaudiaFineArt.com and at Claudia Ruiz-Gustafson on Instagram. Go give her a follow, even if she's not posting. And I'm just going to see if there's any more questions while you're thinking about questions. Oh, wait, we've got 2 more in the chat. All right, I'm going to stop my share again. And it looks like Liz Albert has a question. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you.
Well, hey, Claudia. Thank you for sharing your work. So I see, you know, there's such a theme of loss in your work, I feel, and it's with your work at the Danforth too. Can you say something about what that means to you in your work, and where you know, think that might, you know, what's your motivation for that?
I've noticed a common theme in my work. Actually, sometimes I surprise myself, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my work is always reproducing the hero's journey. Mm-hmm. Even in this last work, Suspended World, mm-hmm. I always, my theme is always about something that is, someone that is trapped in a place that they don't want to be. And towards the end, that person or that thing, whatever, is set free. Mm-hmm. And so that's the loss that you see, the sadness, and maybe that's the way my art process works. You know, so I'm still trying to figure it out. But I feel it is because I have such desire to be free and to grow as a human being, as a person. Mm-hmm. And I feel very constrained in, you know, this human body with all the limitations that we have. And I aspire to be free, you know, like I say it in my poetry, really free. So I don't know, I cannot express it very clearly, I'm sorry.
I think it comes, well, I see it in your work, so I think you're already expressing it. But
okay, good, thank you.
It's interesting to hear you talk about it. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz.
Looks like we have, Lorraine, did you mean to raise your hand?
No.
No. Okay. I just have one question for you, Claudia, about your use of birds in your imagery, of sort of what inspires that, or where that, like what is that about? What do the birds mean?
Freedom, definitely. They, for me, that's what they represent. Even before I was a fine art artist, I was using wings a lot. I'm a portrait photographer too, so I was putting wings in children a lot. So it's just only natural that I start using wings now. And yeah, it's simple as that. It just represents freedom and transcendence. Yeah.
Cool. I love that. I love how that pairs with the idea of, you know, so much of your work being about being trapped in some place that you don't want to be in, that then there's the symbolic bird piece of that. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. So I will do my weekly pitch. So, you know, we're a nonprofit. we've experienced the same challenges that everybody else has. And so if you enjoyed what you saw here today and you enjoy this program in general and are able to, I hope you'll consider making a donation to our annual fund at cambridgeart.org/annual fund. And we will be back here on Thursday with Lori Lander, same time, same place. And until then, I want to thank Claudia for sharing her artwork with us today. This session was recorded and will be posted on YouTube as soon as I can get it up there. And so you can also watch this again or share it. So I'm going to do my annual or my weekly unmuting everybody to say thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia.
Great.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
Good work.
It was great to see your studio.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Annie. Bye, Diane.
That was beautiful.
Oh.
Very beautiful. Very
Bye,
moving.
Karen.
Thank you.
Hi, Jen.
Very moving.
Thank you, Claudia.
Bye, thank you.
Very cool.
Bye, Lorraine.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yes. Pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Claudia, I saved the chat for you so that you can read everybody's very nice comments and everything. I'll send that. Bills are ringing somewhere.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Enjoy your afternoon.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Beautiful.